In Search of Identity, Fundamental Questions from the Harari Youth, Part 2. Following a wide-ranging answer to Question 1, we at IHMS also tried to compile and provide answers to the second question, as well as to the educational request raised in the video I Am Ignorant that was released over a month ago through IHMS. The second question was, why do we need to preserve our identity and heritage when we live in various cultures and countries? Another superb question. IHMS keynote speakers and facilitators collectively tried to answer this question. But before we provide some answers, it is important to remind one another some related issues from Al-Quran in this juncture.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير.
The Quran elaborates diversity by saying, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. O mankind, we have created you male and female, and we have made you nations and tribes that you may come to know one another, and not deny one another. Lo, the noblest of you, in the sight of Allah, is the best in conduct. Lo, Allah is knower, aware. That is from Surah 49, verse 13, from the Quran. Indeed, this says that mankind is not only destined to exist as diverse peoples, but that as humans, we should welcome this and actively try to understand people who are different from ourselves externally. This message clearly establishes pluralism and coexistence until the end of time. So, don't you think that our identity is based on our belief system? And if so, don't you think we should live, preserve, and nurture our identity? Live our life with diversity in plan and unity in action? Of course, living harmoniously with other cultures and traditions and vice versa is the core tenet of humanity. Also, many social scientists have researched on whether self-identity and ethnicity matter. Their findings could be summarized as self-identity is important because it increases self-esteem, self-awareness, awareness of the world, etc. Ethnicity ties itself into identity because it is a part of who you are. Self-identity is the definition of who you are. It defines you. It defines you as a human being. It defines how you see and interact with other human beings. It also defines how you see and interact with the world itself. In a word or so, self-identity is you, in the real sense that it can be. It is your story. It tells you, and in turn, the world who, what, when, where, and how you are. Ethnicity also provides a story. It is a story. It's a story of not just your life, but the lives of those who came before you. It defines how your life came to be. It tells how your loved ones came to be loved. For many people, their ethnicity is tied not to just their skin color, but also their roots, their family, their culture, their religion, what hobbies they might have happened to like, the foods they might enjoy such as hulbat maraq, wakalim, mulawah, sambusa, fatira, and mutabak. Every person has a story, and every community constitutes every person. Thus, every community has a story, and so does the Harari community. Each story has more than one part, as Harar and Hararis have many parts to their story. Remember, Harari heritage, Harar Hardanurzeu, the language, the culture, the traditions, and the religion. Answering these two questions has given us enlightenments and positive outlooks. Yes, we need to preserve our identity and heritage when we live in various cultures and countries nowadays. Dear Harari youth at large, your coming together is the first step in the right direction. Courageously preserve your identity against all odds. Social mafias, anarchists, political predators, and genocide criminals that want to dehumanize the Hararis and the residents of Harar nowadays. It is my hope that the governing majority in Ethiopia comes out of its compartmentalized ideology and upholds the beauty of diversity in Ethiopia, protects the minorities, and applies humanity in its actions for peaceful coexistence and prosperity. We Hararis, to ease our suffering and retain the sense of humanity, we should preserve and evoke our communal identity and institutions, rather than in a state of denial in the name of living outside of Harar. We should strengthen our identity as indigenous citizens of Ethiopia to have inner peace in the face of current adversity in our homeland. The unities of all Hararis globally will give Hararis in the homeland a sense of comfort, confidence, and togetherness, voice, and continuity of sense of self. The Harari youth should be at the center stage as a unifying force and for going into the future. How do we get the sense of preserving the nurturing Harar Hardanurzeu? By performing religious rites, fashioning, creating music, arts, singing, and writing, as well as voicing the current affairs of Harar through the various platforms and media, including IHMS. These types of nonviolent resistance and activities will show our human spirit in the face of oppression and inhumanity. IHMS is all about reinventing, reinvesting, and bringing together Hararis worldwide through these activities to allow us to feel connected to each other, build during such majority threats, and redeem ourselves to show our best human qualities. Our devotion to our community and the Harar cause will be our undertaking, task, and legacy. IHMS